If you had to see a fight, and a true fight, with actual punches thrown,
right?
Not hold me back, bro, but punches thrown, would you rather watch a baseball fight or a hockey fight?
This is a great question.
Ooh.
Now, the question stems from obviously the Brewers-Rays dust-up yesterday,
right.
where haymakers were thrown.
Jose Siri, baby.
I don't know if any landed, but haymakers were thrown.
There was no down goes Robinson, down goes Anderson.
That's Tom Hamilton, just an absolute legend.
Great
as
call.
Jose Ramirez just
Jose
decked him. It's pretty good. So it stemmed from the Brewers fight last night, but it kind of got me thinking. Like we were watching some hockey last night.
Right.
I'm gonna put hockey again on the tube tonight. While you have basketball on behind me. Hockey fights, have that reputation of, oh, there's a fight. Oh, there's a fight. I love hockey, Oh, I'm here to watch the fight and maybe a hockey game will break out. All that stupid stuff that people say.
Right.
But so hockey fights are known to be great. But very rarely do we get actual punches thrown in baseball fights.
But when they happen, like you remember them. Although that being said, the biggest fight from baseball that I remember doesn't involve a punch. It involves an Olay and throw down to the ground when Pedro takes that big fat
Don
Yankees.
Zimmer.
Yeah, I always forget his name. But it's like the ultimate funny move. Like Pedro's like, I'm going to find the biggest, fattest, oldest man here, and he's mine.
See, and I always remember Robin Ventura charging Nolan Ryan, who instantly puts him in a headlock and then starts pounding his face in UFC style.
See, that was a great one, too.
Now, there's the great moment when Jose Bautista gets hit in the face by Rougned Odor.
Oh, my God.
And his glasses go flying. That one is excellent. But
Bryce Harper's throw your helmet completely whiff and then try and chase him down.
did you ever see the minor league guy who the strike comes and he karate back kicks the catcher and then runs out to the pitcher? That's a great one. So it kind of got me thinking, like, hockey fighters are better fighters.
Right.
It's part of the game. It's kind of part of the culture. There's the pull the jersey over the head, or there's the headlock, or take you to the ground, different strategies. But would you rather watch just, an average hockey fight or an average baseball fight?
Well, I think the problem is the average baseball fight isn't a fight. It's a hold me back, bro. You're lame. I do this to you. I do that to you, whatever. The average hockey fight, you're actually going to throw blows. Now, when you get the actual brawl, I think the baseball brawl trumps the hockey brawl, barring it involving goalies. Because if you have the baseball brawl, you've probably got 2 or 3 pitchers in the mix. You've got, catchers coming from the bullpen. You've got batters coming out on the field. Like Yasiel Puig coming out and trying to fight like an entire team when he was on the Reds, like that was fantastic. That's really funny.
But if like Aroldis Chapman, who can throw 105, throws a punch at Jose Altuve, who plays second base, that's not really a fair fight.
5'6", by the way, too. Probably almost a full foot shorter than Aroldis Chapman.
Shout out P. Harris, 5'6", great length.
And can I add quickly, by the way, that the bullpens running in during a MLB fight is the most hilarious thing ever, because they're never initially involved, and it is just literally these guys running in to do what? Fake yell at each other?
I always feel like
They're the get-back guys.
I always feel like the bullpen guys, when a fight breaks out, they turn to each other and they go, hell, all right, let's go.
We got to be out there so that no one gets mad at us.
To where the hockey guys are like, whoa, back it up. It's like playground rules. It's like, that's a fair fight.
Like, let him go.
Let him go.
I'm going to trip you on the way out. See, that's what I want to see. I want to see the bullpens fisticuffs right when the doors open with each other. Let's have 2 fights going, one in the infield and then one in the outfield.
Yeah, but they're not talking trash to each other. Like, because the reason the hockey fight can sometimes turn into like a line brawl is because they're all on the ice together talking trash.
And I feel like there's one guy who's like, oh, I'm coming for you,
like,
Ortner.
Right.
Can you imagine if like Fernando Rodney popped out of the bullpen and was like, there's Altuve. I've been waiting years for this.
Getting him.
What was that? Didn't Johnny Gomes like leap out of the dugout a few years ago during a spring training game and just lay a Yankee out? It was one of the few times where he actually hurt somebody.
Was
it was
Aaron
great.
Boone?
The Jesse Jesse Winker one was awesome too, where he gets in the big fight, then he double birds everybody.
Oh yeah, the double bird
that was great. So I think it depends on the fight, because if it's average, hockey is better because there's actual fighting. If it's full on brawl, unless the goalies come out, because whenever the goalies come out, like if you get a Patrick Waugh come out and he's trying to fight someone,
like that's what stops it all.
That's the best fight in all of sports. But if it is brawl versus brawl, and you have like 2 or 3 fights going in hockey versus, 2 or 3 fights and actual fights, punches being thrown in baseball. Baseball's better because you might get one of those a year, maybe one every 2 years. Where in hockey, I mean, just this year we had a full line brawl to start a game.
Yeah,
to
start a game.
To start a game. Which, by the way,
we've been thinking about this for weeks.
Right.
We are ready for you.
They hated each other. The Rangers put their fighter out, Matt Rempe, which if you haven't been watching any of Rempe's games, just go back and look at his highlights. He got called up like halfway through the year this year. He's averaging like a fight every other game.
See, that's amazing.
That's what he's there for.
That's amazing because at the beginning of that game, all right, you're the other team, okay? Who the Rangers fight that day?
I think it was New Jersey.
Okay, so you're getting into a fight. So let's pretend it's New Jersey. So the Devils come out, all right, and they're getting ready to line up for the faceoff. Then all of a sudden, your star player who's getting ready to take the faceoff looks up and goes, "Wait a sec, guys. Wait a sec. This is not their first." Oh no! Ah, crap. Okay, all right, guys. Coach,
we're fighting.
I'm not the fighter. Can we get the fighters rotated in?
Like, bring someone else.
Uh-oh.
I like to think Sidney Crosby's like, oh,
yeah,
no.
my goodness.
Oh, God, no.
See, but the best is when you have a legit star like Alexander Ovechkin who's like, yes, bring on the fight. Like, let's go. That's the best part, though, of Rempe. Rempe's like 6'7". He's huge for hockey standards. He's like 50% on his wins. Like, he's not your traditional tough guy. He's not your traditional goon who goes out there and like wins all his fights. He just fights all the time. He's 50%. So half the time he's getting his ass kicked by a dude who's like 6 feet tall, just working him, but he keeps coming back. Like, it's awesome.
I'm going to throw just the tiniest caveat in here. If it's like peak hockey fight, like the best NHL fight you've ever watched versus the best MLB fight you've ever watched, I'm picking MLB every time, simply because what you said in the beginning of this, Patrick, NHL, they're not trained fighters, but they do it a lot more often. They're used to it. It's kind of a part of their
culture
sport.
Thing.
And when baseball fights like really get bad, it's when it's like the worst that you've seen. Punches actually connecting, multiple dudes doing that. I don't want to see people getting injured, but like seeing an actual fight, like the Mariners got into a legit fight with the Angels a couple years ago, and the Astros in the same season that they made the playoffs. Like, those are the kinds of fights I think that rule all the sports fights, or fisticuffs, or whatever you want to call them.
Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6362. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Hockey fight. Those guys actually connect on fists thrown. Baseball players are Nancy's. They swing and back up and run away. Fair.
Right.
We said that. But when punches land is kind of what we're saying here.
Right. Well, and hockey is also, they are trying to edge fighting out. Like,
yes.
Obviously fighting still happens, but it's to a much smaller degree. I mean, there's a really great documentary on like late 90s, early 2000s, the Colorado Avalanche versus the Detroit Red Wings rivalries. Go check out some of those brawls, some of those fights. Those teams were good, and they hated each other, and they literally had full lines of goons.
Yeah.
Like, you are on this team to go and fight.
As the text line points out, we got one in Portland right now in Josh Davies. I hope he becomes a goon. I also like, we've got to chime in from a former bullpen bro. When I was in the bullpen and a fight broke out, I always handled it the same way I handle annoying standing ovations. Does anyone notice that I'm not standing?
You got to do the like.
If the bullpen, if everybody's leaving the bullpen, it's like, oh, hold the door. Oh, hold the door, guys. I got the door. And everybody runs through, and then you just kind of close it behind you. You kind of Homer Simpson into the bushes.
Like, I don't want to be involved
That
in
would,
this.
without a doubt, be me. All right, that is your poll question for the day. You can find that on Twitter or X at 1080 The Fan. All we ask in the name of God and all that is right for Isachi is to vote, and vote hard.